keep those organized and make sure those are answered. So my name is Adam. I'm on the team here at CodeHS, and in this webinar, we will cover getting started with CodeHS. And again, I'm Adam, and also have MR here that will be helping answer any questions we have and keep us on track. So today, the goal of this webinar is to make sure that by the end, you will be able to navigate the course catalog. You'll be able to use your teacher account to create your first section. And then we will also explore the student interface. You will also learn how to view student progress. And then we will cover locating the various teacher tools as well. All right, so what is CodeHS? CodeHS is a comprehensive platform for teaching computer science in middle and high schools. So we have a full 6th through 12th grade web-based computer science curriculum. We also offer online and offline professional development. And we are a full software platform with teacher tools and resources. And then we also, as of this year, offer student certifications. So these are a few of the courses we offer. There's too many here to list on one page, but we have our popular courses such as Intro to Computer Science in JavaScript. We also have Intro to Computer Science in Python. We have 2 AP courses in computer science that are endorsed by College Board. And then we've got a ton of other courses such as web design, virtual reality. We have a lot of Hour of Code courses that deal with music, art, sports, math. And then we have cybersecurity. And as of this year, we also have an Arduino course. So we're excited about launching that and having a course that also incorporates hardware. All right, just wanted to take a second to pause and see if we had any questions in the Q&A. If you do, if you can type those out now. Anything about the curriculum or what we offer as a platform. I'll pause for just a moment there. And then in the chat room, we also have a link to the course catalog. And that's a good way that you can view all of our courses and get more information about each of those. All right, how do students access the area where they run programs? So I will cover that in a few minutes when I show the student portion of the website. We will definitely cover that. All right, moving on from there. So let's get into setting up your sections and inviting students. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen for just a minute and pull that part up. Just one moment. All right, so this is basically the homepage of CodeHS when you're a teacher. So if you go to codehs.com, you will see this page, and this is basically where all of your sections are organized. So you can think of sections similar to a class in that you have a group of students that have been assigned certain material. So I've got multiple sections here. One of those is a demo section with student data, and this is another section created here just to show multiple classes and sections. But it's very easy to manage multiple classes at one time, and those are all laid out on this page. So you can see here on the main section page here, you can click create a new section. And this is the first step to getting a class created. So you can either choose a name for your section just as a way to identify which class that is, or if you use Google Classroom, you can import directly from there, and that will basically import the roster of an existing class. And that will also pull the name from Google Classroom that you have already created. So I'm going to call this testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once you have either named your section or imported from Google Classroom, you'll click next. And that's where you'll see the screen where you can access all of our curriculum. So there's quite a bit to choose from there, but I will choose one of our most popular courses here. And once you've used the platform for quite a while, you may have existing courses that you can also choose from those. If you've made any edits to the courses or anything like that, you can use those instead of choosing one of our default courses. So I'm going to click choose, and that will start setting up the course on my account. And that is basically it as far as creating a class. So I've done that, and we can see here the students would appear in this section. And we can also see here that a join code has been generated. So if you've used Google Classroom, the students would already be populated at the bottom here. If you use it manually through our platform, you'll have this join link, and you can either email that out, you can post it on the board, things like that to invite students to this particular section. So by using that, as soon as they join, they will appear under this students portion. And then I'm going to jump back to the demo section I've created just so we can see that student data. All right, and then I want to pause for just a moment to see if we have any questions about creating a section so far. All right, so moving on from there. So this is like I said, a demo section we have created here, and it has existing students. So once students have joined the course, you will see them in this way. And you can do things like the student view can be accessed by clicking on either this name or this person icon. You can also change their password, which they hopefully will never forget, but if they do, you've got the option there. And then you can go through and change student settings or have a conversation with that specific student. And the next part I wanted to go through was showing the student view. So we call this the roster page, and as soon as you click through a particular section, this is the default page you will land on. So in order to view the student view and their progress, you can click on any of their names. And that will take you to a page of that particular student's progress. So we've got this color scheme here, and you can see that each color represents the various parts of student progress. So this gray color, let me expand this so we have that for reference. This gray color means that the assignment has not been started at all. Yellow will mean that it is in progress. And green means it has been submitted but not finalized. And then these two pink colors means that the teacher has basically turned it back to the student and said that this needs more work. So it's not complete, and that lets the student know they need to go back to that problem. And then finally, this turquoise color means that that assignment is finalized and graded. So we can see here the module view. You can scroll down to the bottom of this page and see the total course progress to get an idea of how much that student has completed. And then we can also expand these modules into the lesson view. And then each lesson can be expanded into the activities that make that lesson up. So a typical cadence of a lesson is a video. The students go through a quick video to learn a little bit about the material they're about to practice. They'll take a quick quiz after that to make sure that they did pay attention to that video. Then they will go through examples of code, so they get to see the code and they can run it and see how that works before actually coding themselves. And then they'll go through an exercise after that, which is where they get to actually do some programming themselves. So I'll click through that and we will see what the code editor looks like. Let's see, let me go to a different one here that has code in it. Let's see, let's do Mario Carol. So I'll pull that up and we will be able to see what the code editor looks like. We can see on the left here, the student has instructions. So every exercise is where they have instructions that they have to follow. And their goal is to type their code out so that their end world matches the end world that we're looking for. So they have a visual idea of what they should accomplish with that code, and then we'll show them what their end world looks like. So they'll have a good idea of what they should be accomplishing. And then we've got what we call the quick docs, which is just a reference for them to be able to see what's involved in that code. And we also have this docs tab, which is a good reference for them. It's like a mini textbook basically that they'll be able to get to for that. And we can see at the very bottom here, basically the progress view for the student. So they'll be able to see where they are, and they can click back if they need to see the video again, if they need to go back to the example, they'll have that option. All right, so that is basically the student's screen. And then we can see on the left here that we're viewing this as very similar to what the student sees. So they've got things like my assignments, my notes, if they've taken any notes. They can also see conversations, and then various things like announcements, if the teacher has made any announcements for that class. And anytime the student, either they get lost or get stuck about just what they should be working on, they can click this resume button at the top right, and that will take them right to where they left off. All right, so I wanted to pause here and see if we have any questions about the student view, progress, things like that. Let's see, I've got one that says, can you show how they submit a problem and how it is graded? So let me find a good problem here with some code in it. All right, so basically when the student has completed a problem, they can click run at any point to see what their code does. And they can also click check code to get feedback on if a problem is correct or if it needs some work. So they'll be able to basically learn to debug throughout the course instead of going immediately to the teacher for a question. They'll be able to get feedback on what is wrong with their code. And we don't give the answer away, but we make it so that they can basically learn to problem solve on their own. So as soon as they click run and that problem is complete, they can click this. This will say submit and continue, and then that will finalize the problem, and they will move on to the next portion. So how are assignments graded? So basically our system uses what we call test cases, and it checks in various ways to make sure that the problem matches the final output. That is the goal of that problem. So we've got checks that way, and then the teacher can also, on any students exercise their viewing, they can use this grade tab to either give like a partial credit, or they can leave a comment and say mark needs work. So if a problem is almost complete, but it just needs a little bit more work, they can do that to let the student know to come back and work on that. All right, let's see. I'm just making sure we don't have any more questions. If a student is maybe more advanced or has already experienced similar material, they can move ahead as needed. And then, and yeah, that's definitely an option. Does the system grade comments? No, we don't look at comments, but we do recommend that you encourage students comment their code, just so you can understand how they understand that problem. And it just helps to have that bit of communication. All right, so let me go back to the teacher view here. Okay, so back to the section page. Since I have created a section, we now will also see that same course appear in the courses tab. So on the left side in the courses view, we can see I've got 3 different courses here, which also match what we see on the section page. But basically the courses feature is there so that anytime you need to reuse a section without the same students, you can come in and click this create new section button. So if you've made any kind of changes, and I will show how to do that in just a minute. If you've made any kind of changes or you just have a certain course that you want to keep, you can come in and create a new section from that. All right, so moving on to the assignments tab. So the assignments is basically a teacher view of the material. So you will be able to see the entire course all at once. And these, again, this is the module view, and you can expand these modules down to the lesson and then down to the activity. So from here, you can do things like preview, you can delete certain parts. For example, if you wanted to watch the videos all together as a class instead of everyone individually watching, then you can delete that video and the students won't even see that. That will be removed from that. So that's one way that deleting material can be helpful. And then you can also do things like moving modules up and down. So if you've gone through the class and next year you want to remember maybe they needed to cover something in a different order, you can certainly do things like moving even entire modules around. So you can move activities, lessons, and then also the highest level of a module. All right, just wanted to stop for a minute and see if we have any questions on that part. Let's see, so someone asked, is this curriculum more of a self-paced option for the students? And yes, so it is basically self-paced, so they can work ahead through the material. We have teachers that do more of an independent study, and then we have teachers that, you know, they'll let the students know, work through lessons 1.4 and 1.5, and they will structure it in that way. Let's see, someone asked, will we be able to get a copy of this recording? Yes, we will definitely send this. So if you are taking notes, just know that we will send a copy of this over. Here's one. So someone said, I already have my sections set up. How do I add another course? So let me go back to the sections page. And anytime you want to create a new section, whether you need to add students or you just want to browse through that, you can click this create new section button, and you can do that any number of times. So those will all just appear here for however many sections you create. And if you want to just experiment with a course and not necessarily add students, I would recommend creating it in the courses tab and keeping it separate that way. All right, let's see. Are there any answer sheets for teachers? That's a great question. So we do have what we call the solution references available, and those are available for every exercise where the student has to input code. So those will be under the resources tab, and then you'll scroll down to where you see solution references. Click on that part, and we have every answer here available. And let me show one other way to do that. You can also view the solution when you're on a student's particular exercise. So let me show that quickly here. And we've got a few more questions coming in. So I'll look at those right after I show this part. All right, so I've gone through to a particular exercise. And as a teacher, you can click the More tab and go to Solution. So that's another way to view that without having to go in to a separate page. but you can click that and you'll be able to see the answer in that way. All right, let's see what other questions we have. Is the solution reference only available if you have Pro? No, the solution reference is totally free. And pretty much everything we are covering today is based on the free version. So we're focusing on that. And if there's anything that's specifically Pro, I will call that out. All right, I just wanted to give another minute to see if there's any questions about the about getting started with the platform, and then if not, I will go back to our presentation view. All right, well, let me change screens here quickly. All right, so I wanted to show this as well. As soon as you send the students an invite or they use Google Classroom, either way, they can sign in and also they can create an account if needed. But if they can use this login with Google button if you're using Google Classroom. But that is the screen they will see. And they only have access to the section that you've invited them to. So they can't jump around and look at the rest of the material. All right, and I wanted to also recommend checking out CodeHS.com back to school. We have compiled all of our resources that help to make sure that you're confident and ready to teach. So we've got resources there like the first day checklist. We've got this week 0 lesson plans. We've got just more articles and reminders on how to set up sections. We also have quite a few upcoming webinars. I would definitely check those out. And we've got a link in the next slide for that. But we've got a lot of help on getting started, and there are quite a few coming up that go more in depth on certain features. So like I said, there's a link in the next slide and I'll show that. Another cool thing covered in back to school resources is the where to get help. So we do have a knowledge base and a chat feature. And it will show you how to access those. We also have a pretty active Facebook group of teachers. So that's an awesome place to go and check, you know, if you have any questions or just see what teachers are doing. It's a cool place to get ideas and things like that. So I would definitely check out the Facebook group, and there's a link to that at codehs.com/back-to-school. We also have a link to the catalog there, which is just a good way to view the entire material. All right, and our next webinar will be about teaching in a blended setting. So I knew that's a new thing for a ton of people, teaching, you know, a group of in-person, some people are virtual, some people come in on different days, things like that. So we address how to do that successfully in our next webinar, Monday, August 31st. And you can RSVP for that at codehs.com/webinars. And I would go to that also just to see what all we offer, because we try to get, you know, solve specific problems and cover things that would be helpful for you. All right, well, I will pause again for any final questions. MR, how are we looking there? Do we have a few questions to answer?
Yeah, we have one. Someone knows nothing about coding and might not be able to help students when they need it. Is there a way for them to easily learn how to code themselves?
Awesome, yeah, I'm glad you said that, because we have a lot of teachers that maybe they taught business, math, whatever they previously taught. They've suddenly found out that they're teaching computer science, and yeah, that's a thing that we definitely help with. One thing I would recommend is going through the course, whichever course you will be teaching. You have the option to also enroll in that course and go through it as a student. So some teachers work through, a few days to a week at a time ahead of the students, and they'll know, they'll be familiar with that material. And of course, we have the solution references available too. So at minimum, you have those answers, even if you don't understand it. But I would check out going through the course yourself. But yeah, that's a great question. All right, well, hopefully everyone feels more comfortable about signing up or logging in and creating a new section. And we hope we've made that as easy and helpful as possible. So check out codehs.com/back-to-school and codehs.com/webinars. We've got a lot going on, and we know it's a hectic year, so we're here to help.